Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter 411. It is the second day of the week, aka the special beam cannon workout. I'm feeling very good right now. Very excited for this workout. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today. Accelerationism. So the main reason I want to discuss this is because in this episode right here, I discuss about giving homeless people machetes and alcohol. And the entire idea behind it, of course, is to become viral and all that other stuff. But there is a level of accelerationism in this, and that is essentially the idea or process of making things go to crap even faster. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this particular thing is because I touched upon it in that episode, but I wanted to talk more about it as a whole and why I'm somewhat pro that. Mostly because in the previous episode right here, where I talk about the housing crisis, we are getting to the point now where I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it to the point where I want to say let it burn. You know, I want to see things just go to shit because I want to see what's going to come from the ashes. If nothing comes from the ashes, great. Good to know. We live in those times. But hey, if something nicer or better comes out of it, that'd be great. Or at least just something where we have to do something about it, where we are no longer to the point where we just kind of are witnessing the fire, but the fire goes out and thus we are left with an empty canvas. Maybe. But that's the thing. I think that this is a very interesting mindset to have because obviously I don't want this to necessarily happen, but I think it has to happen. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at that and a few other things when it comes along to accelerationism and what the general gist of it is and how there are certain things that I would want to see happen. So with that being said, I will see you about the race. All right, so start this day off with squats, which are pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Accelerationism. So the main reason why I want to discuss this is because that video the other day that I made about giving homeless people machetes and alcohol was a crazy video to even see happening on the internet. And before we continue on, I want to talk about that entire idea. Well, not necessarily that because I already talked about it, but more so behind it, the idea, accelerationism, which is a fringe political and social theory advocating for the rapid acceleration of existing capitalistic, technological, and societal processes to hasten an inevitable and, in their view, desirable collapse of current world order. Proponents believe that by intensifying the crises of modern society, a new, better future can be built from the ashes. So the main reason why I somewhat subscribe to something like this is because I think that unlike many other people that want to believe that they can just kind of will their way into something better, and knowing that many people will understand this apropos to something like sports, you have to tear it all down in order for it to get better. Most teams that end up doing a rebuild, let's just say to keep it in the sports realm, tear it all down. It's very, very, very rare where a retool where they keep a majority of the stuff but add a couple of key pieces and turn it all around within a season or two is very rare, and very rare that it still works for a long term. It's not necessarily something that will do that. Most of the time, teams that do that are a quick turnaround type of deal. They have like a star that's getting old or whatever. Most of the time, franchises generally understand that they have to tear it all down. And thus the same in something like accelerationism, where we know that these are the issues in society, but let's just make them 10 times worse by keeping it going to the nth degree. You can somewhat kind of see this in the certain sense that AI is kind of going down, but I don't really want to talk about AI because it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It is not great, but it's not bad either in a certain sense. It depends on who uses the AI, but we'll get back to that. I think that the accelerationism part is the guy that goes out and does terrible things on social media and gets popular, so then other people can do the exact same thing, but even worse. And it's just those types of things where we just keep continuing on these terrible traits that are or trends to make it even worse and worse and have new laws or new things like that. So then that way the things are just getting worse and worse. I think that that's probably one of the only ways that we'll actually be able to start the end of it. When I had to deal with my hypothyroidism, the reason why I have hypothyroidism is because I originally had hyperthyroidism. And then the doctors told me the only way to really actually get through this is to increase your hyperthyroidism, destroy your thyroid, and then that way you can just deal with hypothyroidism, and you just have to deal with taking a pill every day, which is much better of a scenario than dealing with hyperthyroidism, because then it's uncontrollable. So that's the entire thing. Is politically speaking, the best bet that we could possibly do is to literally make things worse, because by making things worse, the system is going to break and make it so that there could be something that's going to take its place. Now, of course, this could lead to something bad, but at the same time, who knows? Could also lead to something great, but the only thing that we can actually look at is by going deeper and further than people actually want to do before regular people start questioning what's going on in the political space, or any space where there might be something that is basically undesirable. Something like homeless people. Why not just give them things that are illegal that they would probably use for other nefarious purposes? Why? Because then all of a sudden cities kind of have to deal with the homeless population, because now the problem is in their face and causing much harm, which is something that I think that a lot of stuff is going to have to go through. Unfortunately, things like the school system, public school system in particular, is going to have to crash. The amount of people that are coming out of the public school system that cannot read is frightening. It is insane how much that is happening. You have 10th graders with the reading level comprehensions of first graders. That is an insane thing to even think about. But that's going to have to get even worse. We're going to have to get literally illiterate people into the workforce to finally understand what's going on, which will lead to a generation that's probably going to be fucked. But also as well, they were fucked from the beginning, so it's not even their fault. So unfortunately, they are the sacrifice in this quote, but at the same time, this is what it is. No matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, something must be sacrificed. Unfortunately, sometimes it has to be people, but we don't really talk about that because that's not allowed. But technically, in terms of doing it in like a life-saving thing or a personal growth thing, the old you should be burned for the new you. Even in fables and such things like that, it is understood that the sacrifice must be made in order to alleviate into a higher place. If we are looking to something into the Bible, that is what the story of Cain and Abel was about, the betterment of the better sacrifice, and then the vengeance of the brother that cannot give the sacrifice that is as good, as well as the story of the phoenix that which must burn itself alive in order to be rebirthed into something new. The rebirth will always be able to happen, but it will have to go through the chaos that is death and or destruction in order to be possible to get a rebirth. That's the part that people don't want to deal with. The unfortunate reality is that we've known that this is how to get the new or the order from the chaos, is to go through the chaos before we can get order. And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Accelerationism. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this today was because this is something that has been on the mind ever since that other video the other day, and it really is something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, where things are going to have to get worse. They're going to have to. There is no way that we're going to get out of this without it getting worse. We have to go through. The only way out is through. And unfortunately, we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to go through the shit times. Maybe by some miracle of God, there could be something that could happen that makes it so we can just reverse course from here. I hope for that. I pray for that. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to go the bad route, with the shit route, the gray route, the everything kind of sucks route. Because the only way that realistically you can get through a lot of stuff is by doing all the bad parts now, so then that way you don't keep kicking the damn can down the fucking curb, and that keeps happening. We are just now officially getting to the point where the can is so big that we can no longer kick it. And I think that that's the biggest thing. I think more accelerationism is, in theory, probably some of the better things that we could do, because the quicker that we actually have issues, that maybe somebody could actually start solving them or actually try to figure out what the fuck to do. You know, there's only so much that people can handle up until things just start changing straight up, because I have a feeling that something is going to happen, not in the relatively near future, that's going to put people over the edge. I mean, realistically, yes, you're having people doing shit for like virality reasons or anything like that, which of course is like internet fame and money, whatever. But it's the start of things that are just going to keep going and getting worse. And as time progresses, people are just going to start revolting against it, really. I think that everything that's happening now is only is only a taste of what is going to be. Chaos will ensue. I feel like the only time that something like this ever really happened in my lifetime, personally, was back in 2020 when shit was getting too real, you know? That was a moment, but even then it didn't last very long. Everybody was just home, that was it. But I don't think that that's gonna happen anymore. I think that once some type of like major trigger happens, like let's say all of like the banks all of a sudden default on loans or some crazy shit, or you can't take your money out anymore at all from the bank or some shit like that, which is going to fuck over millions of people. All of a sudden, we're going to start seeing shit go down. And I think that when it happens, it's going to happen lightning quick, because I don't think that people are going to wait or hesitate to take action. I think that now, because everybody is in the, you know, what have you done for me lately mentality, people are just going to keep their foot on the gas to make sure that shit gets done. And they're going to do it quickly, because then if not, it's going to lose its momentum and spark. So it is something that's going to be interesting to see. I personally don't want to be involved in it per se, but if I have to be, I have to be. So there is that, but I don't know what it is yet, but something is going to happen. I feel it. So with that being said, though, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. Random, but still within the wheelhouse of what I talk about in this show, or in this series. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy, stay safe out there, and stay warm, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!